What's up, nerds? Welcome to DNA Pow Block. Yes, we are bringing it back. We are bringing it back as a joint venture with Team Nerd. Team Nerd's Kyle. Say hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Oh my gosh, don't do what I do.
How does that feel, Corey? How does that feel? I'm
gonna kick you, and I'm gonna floss your teeth with your goatee.
Oh my jeez, is that possible?
I don't know. I don't even know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. And as always on the show, Edward Varnell. Ed, I missed you. I missed your face.
I miss you so much. I just want to play Super Mario 3D World to hear the music.
Oh my gosh, that game's amazing.
It didn't look into your eyes or Kyle's eyes.
Oh my gosh. This again.
Oh man.
Love it.
So this episode is going to be all about Nintendo Switch. But before we get into that, I kind of want to go through and just say we're bringing back Pow Block. DNA's gone through a little overhaul. Restructuring type thing, and we are bringing back Pow Block as one of the main shows, so I'm super excited. And Kyle has agreed to share this show with me as we share the Xbox show with Team Nerd. So Kyle,
absolutely,
I love you. And Ed always is the biggest Nintendo fan I know. So
oh my gosh, so true.
Obviously, Ed's gonna be here
every episode of anything. And by the way, Nintendo. Oh, okay. Let's just go with it.
Gears of War, Halo. Wait, Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why we love Ed.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
That's why Ed's here, and that's why Ed's gonna stay forever. Forever.
Nintendo's my number one.
Forever. Okay. But anyways, so Pow Block's back. And we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch announcement that happened while I was gone.
I don't think that's a thing. That doesn't sound like a real thing.
A little late, but that's okay. That's okay. We can get through this. So, first of all, I want to get to your guys' overall impressions before I go into it because I'm extremely excited. So, Kyle,
hey, what's up?
I know you and Ed did a thing for Team Nerd, but
yes, we did.
If these people haven't watched it, why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts on the Nintendo Switch, your overall view, and what you think?
All right, so first off, if you haven't seen mine and Ed's video over on the Team Nerd YouTube channel, go over, check that out. I think we did about 40-minute conversation on it. But, I mean, my first impressions are basically, I like it. As easy as that. I just like it. They came out and they show an adult playing Breath of the Wild, and this adult male is probably mid-20s to 30s, and it wasn't a commercial aimed for families and little kids. It was a commercial saying, hey, you, the gamer that grew up on Nintendo, the gamer that grew up playing games, the gamer that is now an adult with real-world responsibilities, this console is for you. And I love the messaging. I love the trailer. There's so much right about it, and I just want this. I just want the Switch right now. That's really all there is to it. I want it now, and I want to experience it, and I want to play it. Plus, potentially a Splatoon sequel and a Mario Kart Double Dash sequel potential. Like, I'm excited for that. So,
yeah, I agree with you 100%. Ed, why don't we get your thoughts on this Nintendo Switch? Oh my gosh, I can't get over the name.
It's the new Nintendo experience that I'm so happy that I'm going to experience next year. Sleek design, very beautiful, very I feel like it's a little bit innovative. I think it's going to go across the board for all gamers. I love the connectability that they showed in the trailer. That anyone who has the game or who has a Switch, you guys could just put the system down, kick it out, and just play like a full game. And I want to say 1080p, but probably not full 1080p just yet.
I think not on the actual console itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It great marketing, great commercial. The day that it came out, I rewatched it about 3 times. Me and Kyle actually went frame to frame, analyzing it, making sure what we could catch and be like, okay, look at this. Okay, I see what they go. And it's the not next generation for the Nintendo console, but it's something that I feel like it's going to pay off in the long run for Nintendo.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. So I guess I'll go into my thoughts since I know Kyle, we did one another long / small show on the Switch for Team Nerd.
Yeah.
But I like Nintendo's message in the trailer. I think they did their homework. I think they saw, what people liked about the Wii U and what people didn't like about the Wii U, and I think they did their homework in that respect, where they showed people like us playing this machine, not kids, not families, not your grandma. They showed people like us playing this thing. They showed all the multiple ways you could play this thing. They delivered a message saying, look, this is what the system is and what it does, unlike the Wii U, where people thought, is this just an attachment to my Wii? People were confused that aren't in the know about how we are,
right?
Always researching things, always looking at things. So I think they delivered that message. I think all the different ways you can play it, either with the mini Joy-Cons or the Pro Controller or what people have already termed the dog face controller. I think that
dog face controller. I haven't heard that one actually. Is that the Joy-Con one?
Yeah, where they put the Joy-Cons in and the controller looks like a dog face, and people are already doing animations and stuff. I saw this GIF the other day, or maybe it was 2 days ago, where it was just this. It was a dog, but it had the Joy-Con controller as a face.
The Joy-Con grip.
Oh yeah,
is the official name for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
So I like all the different ways. I like how they're showing, just the different places and how people are, quote unquote, real life playing. I like how they showed the games. I like how it was all games. None of this, Wii TV crap. None of this.
Right.
You have Netflix and Hulu and stuff, because those aren't really selling points for consoles anymore.
Because everything has that.
Yeah, because I can watch Netflix on my phone. So I think Nintendo delivered the message, and they delivered it well. And as many questions as they answered, there's probably 10 times that many more questions that we have now. It's we actually know what this device is now. So I guess we'll get into kind of what we almost did on your show, Kyle, the good and the bad. We're not going to go into ugly, because I don't think there's really that much ugly to this thing. But I want to talk about the good first. What did we each like? And I guess we'll go into the system and the games themselves. So,
okay.
Kyle, we already started with you. So, Ed, we're going to start with you this time.
The good that I like how it's easier to take the game that you're playing on TV and just switch it out and continue your full game while you're on the go. So your experience is not being interrupted. You can play it on the bus, you could play it on a car ride for a car trip and stuff like that. I love the fact that they kind of integrated the Netflix thing, where if you are watching it on one like they kind of did with the Wii U and 3DS, or even with the Wii, I think. If you're watching it on your TV and you're about to go somewhere, and let's say you go to McDonald's or something, you connect your 3DS and you pick up from where you left off on Netflix for that show. So I love that they integrated that into as for games for the system. Also, the third party support that hopefully comes through for the system. They got most well known third party companies here, here in the West and definitely in Japan. So that's a good thing. What we'll see from it later on, we don't know, but hopefully there's some good content. Hopefully, one thing that I must say, Konami gets on board and work with Nintendo to bring good games back.
Yeah. Kyle, what about you?
All right, so let's see. This is all about the good, and the good that I saw, other than just the system, really looking like the natural successor, the natural evolution of what the Wii U controller tablet thing was. I like how it's pretty much, and I know this is very a Nintendo podcast, but it's pretty much everything I wanted out of the PlayStation Vita, honestly. Like, it is that promise of a home console system or a home console game on the go. And, the thing about the Vita, even with their crossplay where they're like, well, you can save the game on your PS3 or PS4 or whatever, and then pick up the save on your Vita. Like, this is just seamless. It's in the dock, you're playing it on your TV, and, oh, I've got to go outside, or I've got to go do this or whatever, or there's someone at the door, and I'm in the middle of an awesome boss fight. Pick it up, I'm playing it, or, whatever. And I love how it looks. I like that, they have that also multiplayer aspect to it of you have one system and you're out and about and you take off the Joy-Con L and R's and you just hand one to your buddy, and all of a sudden you're playing Mario Kart against your buddy with, both of you on the same screen. And sure, the screen's going to be pretty small, but it's still, it's just the Nintendo factor of it is like no other developers, no other, Sony wouldn't do this, I don't think, and Microsoft sure wouldn't do this because they haven't even tried getting into the handheld market. But like, this is just an awesome system, and I think the things that make me the most excited about it is the little hidden things that you don't really notice at first glance on the system. The Mario Kart game that, very much looked like Mario Kart 8 potentially could be a Mario Kart Double Dash successor because you had the two items there. And, Nintendo's very smart about their marketing. They do things for reasons, and they were showing off a GameCube level on that game. They were showing off the two item things, and then they had King Boo there, which isn't in Mario Kart 8. So I like that they did that. Same thing for when they showed Splatoon, which I'm super excited because Splatoon was one of the games I loved on the Wii U. This Splatoon, though, it looked better. It looked like they had more hairstyles. It looked like they had some different weapons. And the map that they were playing on was a map that was not in the original Splatoon. So, those little tiny tidbits make me really excited for it because I'm like, oh, this could be a successor. And then, of course, the new Mario title that they kind of showed off just a little bit of, it looks more in line with like Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Galaxy. And I'm just really excited because this is me going from, gosh, guys, I just hope Nintendo stops and they just start developing games because that's what they're great at for other companies. And that's, full 180 on that. I'm like, guys, I love this. I love what they're doing with this. And I would love to play all of my games on this thing now. So, I mean, if that doesn't tell you anything, what does? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I'm so excited for this thing. And like, when I first watched the trailer, where are you guys? Oh, there you are. Okay. I was like, I had our website open, but I was trying to rearrange some things on the website while you were talking. I'm sorry. I know that's rude. That's not.
Yeah, you're good.
It's not proper podcast etiquette.
Whatever. It's your show. Do what you want.
I know. I'm always fiddling. I can't help it. But I like the fact that this thing doesn't look like a toy. I like that this looks like a sleek piece of technology. And like, as much as I love my 3DS and my Wii U, like when I take my 3DS out in public, I kind of feel like I'm playing a toy. And like,
well, I mean, at least you have a 3DS, though. I'm rocking a 2DS still because that's the cheapest way I could have gotten a capture card system was I had to get the $300 2DS versus the $450 3DS XL. So, like, I mean, I did that for reasons, of course, but like, man.
Yeah, and like
I feel you there.
I'm just excited to see what I like seeing Nintendo being innovative in moving forward in technology, not
Mm-hmm.
I always like Nintendo as an innovative company. You know, I love that you could take games on the go with the Game Boy. I love the move from 2D to 3D with the N64. I thought the Wii was an ingenious idea to get that thing into households.
See, and it was good, but then they overdid it with the whole
Right,
shovelware.
right. But
Well,
I'm
that was
just
the
saying, like,
companies.
I'm excited to see like they are moving this technology forward in what's healthy for more than just video games, and I like seeing that. You know, the tablet technology, the way you can like attach different controllers, and like just thinking of different games you could get down the road depending on if this thing has like a gyroscope in it or not. You know, somebody mentioned like, remember those weird fishing games? Like, what if they added that to the controller and you just put the fishing rod and the reel on the thing? Or, you know, driving games. You know, what if you just added a steering wheel to the sides of your console? It's just there's so many cool things that you could do with it. I just think that this thing has more possibilities and more potential than the Wii U or the Wii ever had. You know, so
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I think with Nintendo, they take a concept that, maybe that didn't work well for that generation, but they learn from it. They see what's the good, what's the bad, and then when they make their next console, they maybe insert it and make it better. And
yeah,
that's what Nintendo have
That's
always
what
been
they
known for.
did with this, though, because the Wii U, like I said already, if you look at this thing, it does look like the grown-up version of a Wii U gamepad. It looks like they took all of the shortcomings of what the Wii U was, and they learned their lesson with that, and they're all like, okay, this is the successor to that. And I'm glad they got away from the Wii branding, honestly, because I think that at this point would have hurt them if they came out and they said it was the Wii 3 or whatever, So I'm
Well,
glad that they have this new
the
branding.
Wii with 3 eyes.
Oh, yeah, like it's got 3 cameras to track you in 4 dimensions. I mean, like
well, I think most sometimes like Nintendo, they probably learn, okay, we're done with the Wii name. Now let's move on to something else. They're not like they're not like Xbox, or they're not like PlayStation, where they could make different consoles, but keep that same name. Nintendo has always been known that, hey, when we bring out a system, we got to give it a different name that's going to be easier for us to market and easier for our customers to say. Because we know,
Sorry.
we know PlayStation, but what did you do? You changed the system and you added a number. Like, is that really?
That makes sense to customers too, though. Like PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. The only confusion that customers have really is the PSP and the PS Vita, because a lot of people call the Vita PSP2. And like if they ever did release another handheld, they'd have to have an entirely new handheld name. But like that's not even that bad. Like Microsoft confused me when they announced the Xbox One, because they already had the Xbox One, and then instead of calling it Xbox 2, they were like the Xbox 360. And I mean, it's all whatever. What's in a name? So even though this is the Switch, and I don't care for the name Switch, I understand it, and it does make sense why they're calling it that. So, what's in a name, honestly? But it is good to see them get away from the Wii branding.
Yeah,
Well, I think
sure.
they were just done with it. I think they couldn't do no more.
Well, I
with
think
that
they
name.
saw that it honestly was hurting them at this point. Like, because as much as the Wii U, like Corey, I know you love yours. Ed, I know you love yours. And there's a lot of games that I really enjoyed playing when I had one. The Wii branding is just kind of toxic to Nintendo at this point because of how negatively it did sell and how horribly it was received after all this time. So,
Yeah, and I want to point out, like, in the naming thing, yeah, Switch is just like kind of like a generic term, and it's not like a mind-blowing name, but it delivers the message.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Unlike the Wii U, where everybody, like, outside of the core gaming circles like was really confused with Wii U. Switch delivers the message,
Right.
and the way the trailer presents the message is key. And I think they won over a ton of people based on that alone.
Oh,
based
for sure.
on the message and the name, I think they won over a ton of people.
Well, and there's still a lot of people that don't care for the name because, you know, I have been looking at tons of different, you know, YouTubers doing videos on this. You know, I've watched tons of videos on this. But the thing is, like, the Wii name, well, it was a smart name. I didn't like it, but, you know, I don't feel weird saying Nintendo Wii anymore like I first did when they announced it, because the Wii was all about we play together. And then the Wii U branding was, hey, this is part of the Wii family, but this is about you. This is about you getting to sit down and play the games. And they tried to come back kind of to the core gamer circle, but they still had that casual side of things, and it just didn't work. But this right here, not only is the name perfect for what the system does, where it's like, hey, you switch it from handheld to console to handheld to console, they are also switching their marketing from this is all about families, this is all about, you know, kids, to they are switching to, hey, I know you had a Nintendo when you were younger and you're 25 to 30 now, but we're back. Come back to me. And, you know, I said this on the initial impressions that Ed and I did together, but, you know, Nintendo and I, you know, I love Nintendo. Nintendo was my first console, and we grew apart over, you know, decisions that they made and decisions that I made. You know, they wanted to do their thing over here, and I wanted to play Halo over here. But, you know, this is Nintendo saying, Kyle, come back to me. And I'm sitting here like, Nintendo, where have you been? I missed you. You know?
I wish I had my Nintendo ring, because I've always, ever since the NES, I've been married to Nintendo.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I supported Nintendo, and I still support it to this day, because I like Nintendo's creativity. I like their innovative stuff. They don't rely on, I mean, some people say, well, what they do is gimmicks. But when your stuff is so gimmicky that the other two competitors are trying to do a rip-off or trying to take the idea, or even somewhere in China they're trying to do the same thing for some unknown brand, you kind of got to give it up to Nintendo for doing that thing first.
Well, and the thing about their gimmicks is Nintendo themselves, they are not creating gimmicks. They are creating technology that has very specific purposes, and they are creating it for those purposes without having gimmicks behind them. The problem was they weren't getting the third-party support to you know, use those mechanics, and then the ones that were just shoveling out all this shovelware so that it made those interesting mechanics seem like gimmicks. That was the problem, honestly. So,
which is weird, because, like, even going back to the Wii, at that point in time, you know, people were just like, well, the Wii system is kind of gimmicky, but there were so many studios and developers closing during the PlayStation 3 and 360 days. So if they did put a game out on the Wii and it sold and made the money, that was kind of keeping them afloat. Where their $40 million game almost closed their whole studio. Right. So
I don't know. Like,
yeah. And so I think with the Wii U, as much as we, you know, they didn't get that many third-party support from Western developers. I want to say that first. From Western developers, they didn't get that much third-party support. Pretty much most of the Japanese developers who work with Nintendo started making money. Platinum became noticeable after Bayonetta 2. Capcom, because of Resident Evil 6, was kind of probably lost them a lot of money, even though it sold $1 million, was getting trashed in the reviews. But look at them. They made buku bucks of money off of Phoenix Wright. That Luigi's Mansion arcade game is still making them money. Monster Hunter 4 blew them off the roof, putting them in the black.
See, but now you're going back into the handheld side of things with the DS, and like that is where Nintendo shines. Nintendo shines with their handhelds, and that has been proof because the DS Or let's just go all the way back. The Game Boy, amazing. It had a competitor in the Sega Game Gear, and
Game Gear.
even though the Game Gear was quote unquote more powerful, and it had that backlit screen that you had, and it had color, the original Game Boy trounced that thing because it had the support from Nintendo, it had the games, and it was just more fun. You go to the Game Boy Color, you've got all those games on it. You keep going up, then you get to the DS being obviously less powerful than the Sony PSP, but everyone I know had a DS and not a PSP. You get to this fight between the Vita being very powerful and the 3DS being, GameCube graphics-ish, and more people had 3DSs. Like,
I was playing my Game Boy Advance still on my GameCube. The Game Boy Advance player. I was saying that's still on the GameCube before I went to DS.
I mean, Nintendo is king when it comes to handhelds, and the fact that they are taking that handheld approach with their home console, I just love it. I love it. I think it's the smartest thing they could have done. So
I think with Switch, I think third party is going to work with Nintendo, hopefully to get games and sometimes exclusive content on that system. I know third party in Japan is going to stick with Nintendo. Namco Bandai, I pretty much can't do nothing without Nintendo. Platinum really can't do nothing out with Nintendo. Capcom can't do nothing out with Nintendo because they make so much money on those systems to pretty much support and develop other projects for all the other competitors.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see Metal Gear Solid 5 Survival.
Sega Sonic wouldn't exist without Nintendo right now.
that is very
pretty
true.
Much.
And there's already a confirmed late holiday Sonic title confirmed for the Switch. Here's the thing, though. Like, I love games, right? It doesn't matter what system it's on. I love games. So normally I'd buy third-party games on, my Xbox because that's the ecosystem that I'm most engrossed in. That's where I have my achievements. But the Switch is changing that because I want to be able to take all of my games where I go. Like, I would love to be able to take like Rise of the Tomb Raider on the go. Exactly. I was just gonna say that. I used to be saying, like I said earlier, gosh, Nintendo, I just wish you'd make games for other platforms because games are where you shine. But now I'm sitting here like, man, I really like what this thing is. I would kill to be able to play something like Gears of War or Rise of the Tomb Raider on this thing.
I would totally okay, so I just bought Rise of the Tomb Raider again on PlayStation 4. And I'm going through all my PlayStation 4 games, looking at them, and like, I would love to play Injustice on the go. I would love to play something like Metal Gear on the go. I would love to play Rise of the Tomb Raider on the go. I would love to go back and play HD versions of Resident Evil and Resident Evil 4 on the go.
Oh, for sure.
And Corey, before you go on, people think about it this way: if they got League of Legends on the Switch, playing League of Legends,
they'd have to do like a special attachment for that, though, keyboard and mouse style.
Yeah.
But
there's so many hotkeys and stuff.
It's on the go. What if they could do something like League of Legends on the go for a Switch?
And that's just getting into the whole different infrastructure things because, like, we were talking earlier about potentially Destiny might be coming to the Switch. It's been rumored, and I could see it coming, but that's not something that you can necessarily take on the go because you need to be connected to their network, to their servers, because that is a online game. There are going to be games that are just online. That's just how it's going to be. But speaking of how you want Tomb Raider on the Switch, Corey, when I had the Tomb Raider, definitive edition on my PS4 and I had the Vita, I used to do a lot of remote play, and I would test how powerful remote play could be. So I would be playing Tomb Raider off of my 4G phone connection while my PS4 was at home. And it played fine using the Vita, but there are those missing buttons. This has the full button, layout. This has everything you need. This is, in my mind, the best way that you could play a game like Tomb Raider, because if you do need to go for like adult life things, like you have a work conference, you have to travel for, whatever reasons, or family emergency, you don't need to pack up a whole system, wait till you get to go to the hotel or whatever. If you're on the airplane, you're on a bus, you're on a train, whatever, you can have this home console experience. And I love that idea. I think it is perfect how they're deciding to do that. So
And,
and like, oh, I'm sorry, Ed.
like I was telling Kyle when we was having our discussion, it's so small. I don't know how small it's gonna look, but it's so sleek and it's so like it doesn't take up a lot of space. That's what it looks like. Like if it's sitting on your TV, it looks like the dock and the system itself. It just doesn't take a lot of space.
Yeah.
So being able to take that on the go also just be like, there'll probably be maybe like CD cases or like game cases for you to put the system in. So when you put it in your bag and you're on the go, everything is right there.
Well, and that's the thing too about it is, this is not the traditional Nintendo handheld. This is not going to fit in your pocket. But I like that about it because it's going to be like yay big for the screen. Which, I mean, technically, if you have big pockets and you take the Joy-Cons off, yeah, maybe. But I like that it's bigger because you get that better experience on that screen instead of like a little tiny like Game Boy Micro size screen. So
yeah, right. I want to like Sana and I were talking about this the other day, and like she's not like a huge gamer, but she'll sit and play like Mario Kart or we've played Life is Strange together, and I know she would play the Telltale games, like if one came out that would interest her. And like I was thinking about that, like how fun would it have been for us to sit on the plane yesterday for a couple hours and play through a chapter of a Telltale game?
Oh, together. For sure. And like each of you get to vote based on your Joy-Cons and everything. And it's been not necessarily 100% confirmed, but it's been like said that you can attach more than just the two main Joy-Cons to the one console. Apparently, you can have 4 Joy-Cons attached to that console as like little controllers, which is awesome.
Yeah. So that would be awesome. And
I mean, because like Telltale's already done that with the Telltale crowd play.
Yeah.
So like that'd be an easy addition to throw in there. That's awesome to think about, actually.
Yeah. I would take Batman Telltale on a trip and undo all 5 games, like all 5 episodes, and. That would be the story.
Yeah, the Batman one is so good. The newest episode comes out Tuesday. I'm hyped.
Hush it. Look,
that first episode's only $5, right? Those episodes are only $5.
I think the first episode is $5, and then you can download the season pass for like another 20 on top of it. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
So
I think I have some money on my Xbox. I might just download it.
Yeah, dude. Like I was telling Ed the other day. This is one of the ones that it's worth picking up and waiting for each episode as it comes out instead of waiting for the whole thing, because I'm loving it.
Everybody says that second episode is one of Telltale's best chapters they've ever done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, me and Kyle talked about it, and I had to hush him up because I got so excited. I was so ready. I like that. What he told me tempted me to go get the game, but I didn't get it. I'm staying strong until all 5 episodes come.
Nope.
And see, the thing about it is, and I know this is a Nintendo podcast, but I know I'm going to nag you, Kyle, to death to be like, I made this choice. Why did I make this? And just like, be like, you have to talk to me. I like.
Oh my gosh. And that's just the thing though. Like as I'm playing that episode, like they're throwing choices at me and I'm like, oh, what do I do? And it's just slowly getting down to the wire. And there's like no time left. I'm like, oh, why did I choose that? I hate myself. It's ridiculous.
And I would love that on the Switch when I'm on the go. Like that is my novel. That is my story. That my interactive story that I could play and I could read.
Right. No, oh my gosh. The Switch is gonna be great for stuff like that, but it like the main, because you could do Telltale games on the Vita, and sure, they had some issues, but you could also do Telltale games on the phones and all that other stuff. So, like, the main draw for me is having that fully immersive Legend of Zelda world in my hands. Like, I've played Ocarina of Time in my hands now. I love that. It's a great game on the 3DS. Ocarina of Time 3D is great. Majora's Mask 3D is great. Like, having that full Zelda experience on the go, I love it. The fact that I can't
remember that rumor they were going to put Twilight Princess on 3DS. I was so excited.
yeah, that didn't happen. Instead, so. But see now,
which is funny.
They've already done the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker remakes for the Wii U, and I know we don't want to see a whole bunch of Wii U games get ported over to the Switch, but at the same time, games like that, or make like a a Legend of Zelda Definitive Collection or something, and just throw a handful of Zelda games
Don't
for
tease
like
me like that, Kyle.
$60 with Ocarina, with Majora's Mask, with Wind Waker, and with Twilight Princess. Throw that on for $60. Yeah, I'd buy that day one.
Which is funny that you mentioned The Legend of Zelda, because the people who make Oceanhorn, they did confirm 2 games is coming to Switch, and I think Oceanhorn is going to be one of them.
Don't tease me. Stop it.
I mean, so I've already told you guys all my thoughts about Oceanhorn. Is that like, it's good, but it's just so much of a ripoff of Zelda that I'm like, I got what I got out of it, but I'm not going to keep playing it because it just makes me want to play Zelda. So,
yeah, I still need to finish Twilight Princess. I need to level up my Wolf Link for Breath of the Wild, man. Gotta do it. I need my little wolf companion. Gosh, that's all I've ever wanted. Literally all I've ever wanted.
I gotta finish Skyward Sword. I gotta work on that.
Oh yeah, I still gotta beat that too. There's so many things. I gotta beat Gears of War 4 first and foremost.
Yes, you do. Please get on that. So much wanting to talk about that.
Oh my gosh!
A Skyward Sword. Nintendo, please, can I get a Skyward Sword HD version for Switch?
See, how would they do that though? Because
they would have to rework that whole game.
I would love for them to do that and rework it so that I could play it as a hit the B button to swing my freaking sword. I don't want to waggle the controller around.
All right, so
Can you imagine holding the Switch with one hand and having one of the Joy-Cons? yeah.
And people be like, "What is this dude doing?
Are you okay, buddy?"
Well, you know what they could do, honestly, is like map the sword to the right stick.
What do you mean?
For how like this is a
I get what you're
example. Saying. Like Two Human did. Remember when Two Human came out and they mapped the sword to the stick?
I get what you're saying. They could potentially do that. Yeah, they could do that. It'd be a very Skyward Sword itself was a very unique experience based on it has the 1-for-1 motion control. So mapping it to the stick could be potentially doable. The problem I have with that though is you're going to be like swiping the stick sideways in all these ways to try to swing your sword, and I feel like that's just going to break those sticks because those sticks we haven't gotten a great look at them, but they look like a slight evolution of the Circle Pad Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if those would be up to that yet. So
yeah, I know. I was just thinking of a way to that they could do that without actually redoing the whole game. But anyways,
which kind of brings me to a question: Would fighting joy pads work on it? Like fighting sticks, would that be able to work on Switch?
I mean, they might make a specific fight stick for that, or they could just cut a GameCube controller in half and just slide it on each side for Smash.
See, and I've heard that they are going to do custom attachments, which that'd be pretty cool to have like a GameCube controller on each side.
Yeah, I could see them doing that, but
because I would love for Switch to have a Bluetooth, and if we could Bluetooth controllers, I would be cool with that.
I could see them having Bluetooth just because that's like almost the standard these days. Like, I don't see why they wouldn't at this point, especially with this being such a very futuristic feeling device.
Oh, goodness. Breath of the Wild on a nice sound system Bluetooth. Oh, my goodness.
All right, since we're on the topic of games.
Okay. You know how we do. We spin out of control.
I know. I'm just trying to, like, kick the car back onto the road. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Not really going to get back on the road, but I'm trying. The games they showed, I'm just going to run down the list of games, and then we'll talk about more potential for games and what we thought of the games that were shown. Breath of the Wild was shown. A couple new things of footage that we saw of Breath of the Wild. New Super Mario game, which looks a lot like Sunshine and Galaxy and 64 perspective.
With 3D World, for some reason I'm getting a 3D World where, like, when he's running, there's like the cloud smoke and it's like from 3D World for some reason.
Yeah, well, it might be the assets. I mean, how different are Mario assets going to look? I mean, that Super Mario 3D World was a beautiful game anyway.
Well, I mean, Mario and Unreal Engine 4 though, that's gonna look a little bit different. At least it's gonna look gorgeous.
I
So
don't think Nintendo's gonna work with Unreal.
Nintendo's not going to use Unreal. They're going to use their own proprietary stuff.
yeah, I guess. I just like I don't know. I could see.
I mean, would I like to see
making it look
Mario
good.
and Zelda in Unreal Engine 4? Yeah, I would. But
I would prefer
Nintendo's-
Metroid. I prefer
Ooh,
Metroid
yeah,
and Unreal.
Metroid would actually probably look sweet in Unreal 4. But they also showed Skyrim, which we all assume was the special edition that's being released in November. NBA 2K, a version of Mario Kart, could be an updated version of Mario Kart 8, and they showed Splatoon, which could either be an updated version of that game or a potential sequel, which we're not sure yet. So let's start with Kyle again. Kyle, games, thoughts. Go.
I mean, games and thoughts. Like I already said, I want that successor to Splatoon because that was one of the games that I had the most fun with on Wii U. Like I've had more fun with that game than I ever had with any Call of Duty game, honestly. The Mario Kart potential double dash. What's up?
Oh, I was just gonna say let's start with the games that like looked like they were Wii U ports but had differences like Splatoon and Mario Kart.
Yeah, like I was just gonna get into that. Like, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say, ask you what you thought of those because, like, do you think those are sequels? Do you think they're updated ports?
I can't tell because they do look very updated. Like I said earlier, that's a map that wasn't in Splatoon. New hairstyles, potentially new weapons. The Mario Kartness with the 2 items, like I loved Double Dash on the GameCube. So if this is like they could really smartly brand this as Mario Kart Switch and have that whole duo.
It could be like Mario Kart 8 and Double Dash
combined. Yeah, because I mean, it still looked very Mario Kart 8, which is not a bad thing. But like, I want those games to be like their own successor type thing instead of just a, port with all the DLC. Now, could I see them doing a port with all the DLC, and would I be fine with that? Yes, I would be. But like, Splatoon looked really good. And I'm excited for that. So, mainly though, those 2 games in themselves, like those are going to be day one purchases if those are launch titles.
Yeah. Ed, what about you? What did you think of those games?
I think it's fantastic on what they've shown. Of course, being a Nintendo fanatic, of course, Breath of the Wild is a day one. New Mario, the Mario Kart and the Splatoon. I think they are ports because at this time, I think they're probably thinking of what they could do on the Switch for the next Mario Kart and for the next Splatoon. Like Splatoon 2 is going to be the next one. But they'll probably do it like a Nintendo Direct, like later on in the year 2017, or maybe the earliest of 2018, and be like, "This is the next version of Splatoon." But having that on the go and playing it with friends, like they showed the competition with it. I can see that being possible happen. Once again, that's the day one purchase whenever that releases. If it is a launch game, I'm with Kyle. It's a game that I'm going to buy again because I enjoyed Splatoon. Skyrim and NBA 2K17, potentially, if they're not launch dates, it could come to the system for people who are happy to play some Skyrim on the go or on the toilet or whatever.
On the toilet. There it is.
I mean,
there it is. We brought this to the toilet.
I mean, a lot of people would be like,
I'd be
okay,
lying if I
cool.
didn't take my Vita to the toilet.
I mean, I'm not going to say I don't, but like, I just didn't expect us to straight up be like, yeah, bring this to the toilet. I'm going to be here for a minute. Let's play some Zelda. Oh, that's one temple down.
And because it's not going to stop you from playing. You'd be like, okay, I could get more progress done in this game. So what they showed in the trailer were good. I like that they did hint at that new Super Mario game. Can't wait to see where they take it at and what the storyline is going to be. Hopefully it's nothing that deals with King Koopa. Maybe we get King Wart back. Because I kind of want him back in the game. I want to fight that mouse throwing the bombs once again. I kind of want the world of Super Mario Brothers 2 to come back. So hopefully,
Secretly the best Mario game.
Yes. And for those who haven't played Paper Mario Color Splash, they do make a Mario 2 reference, and it's funny. It's
Do they?
so good.
I need to get Color Splash. I haven't gotten it yet. My birthday's coming up.
Yeah. So, but we don't know more. We don't even know indie games. Hopefully, there's a Shovel Knight with more DLC content coming up on it. It would be stupid for Yacht Club Games not to put it on Switch.
Oh, I bet Shovel Knight is a launch title. I bet it is.
Yeah.
I bet it's there.
I could see it. I mean, like that's one of their really good throwback type indie style games. It just feels like a classic, NES game, which of course would not run on NES, but like that's a game that like a lot of people could get behind, and that would also show, kind of the not history, but like the past feeling of Nintendo, and bring it forward to everything that they're doing now.
And it looks like the games are going to be in widescreen. So, because of how wide the tablet is, which is probably going to be good for Nintendo and good for developers. If it's an easy port from Unity, Unreal, if it's an easy port for them to put those games on the PS4 and Xbox One and bring them over to Switch, I think we're going to get a hefty library of third-party games. But from what we've seen today, there 4 out of the 6 is a must-buy to me.
Yeah, I think, I'm not a huge Skyrim fan, but I think that, even though 2K says that their games are unconfirmed for the NX, I think showing a game like Skyrim is a big statement for Nintendo, because a lot of people have been asking for a Skyrim or Fallout type game to play on the go, and there's not really anything like that on the go.
Even
as far as I'm
Diablo, even there's ports on the Vita, not ports, but there's like what's the word I'm looking for? There's like spin-offs. There's rip-offs. That's what I'm looking for. So there's like that Dungeon Hunter Alliance or whatever on the Vita, but it's still not like Diablo. Like games like Diablo, games like Skyrim, games like that, like would be perfect on the go. So
yeah, I would love to see Blizzard put Diablo on there. I would love to see them put their games on there. Like, I just, man, I mean, like, I know Overwatch is a similar thing to Destiny, but I would love to play that like on the go. If
that's also one of those online connected only games.
So. I know that's. I mean, it's the Destiny situation again. But like, I would love to play Diablo on the go. I would love to play something like that on the go. And like, but saying a game like Skyrim is coming opens the door to games like that. So, I mean,
sure, but like then you have to get into the conversation about, does this have a 4G network connection card that you have to, sub to AT&T or Verizon or, T-Mobile or whatever, like, and that just gets into more complications. And they tried to do the 3G Vitas, and that, fell on its face. So,
yeah,
like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I don't think online gaming is going to be a huge push for this system, honestly. I mean, maybe at home it will be. Like, I honestly have a lot of faith in DNA making a big online infrastructure for them.
Yeah,
I feel like if anyone's going to do it besides Microsoft, it's DNA can do it.
And people still do local play for the 3DS. So if it's
exactly
almost the same thing for Switch, it should be easier. Just get with your bunch of friends, get on that game. Now, I don't know what we don't know is that if you do have one game, like let's say Mario Kart, and let's say all people gotta have. If you want a better experience, everybody have to have their own cart or anything like that. I don't know if they're going to do it like this,
like
or
the
if they're just going to have.
Like on Game Boy Advance, for example, when people want to play Mario Kart, but only one person had a cart.
Well,
like you could still play multiplayer, but they were all shy guys, and they couldn't pick their character, but they could all still play together, even though there's only one. You can do that off
3DS as well. Like they had that on the DS and on the 3DS as well, but it's like it's very limited functionality, but it's enough to quote unquote show off what the game's basic features are, I guess you could say.
Right, which would help, which would probably potentially help Nintendo in the long run too. Like
Yeah.
if you guys are all playing Mario Kart and someone doesn't have it, but you guys are all playing it, like I think that someone's like, oh, well, this is really fun. I might actually go buy this game. You know,
Well, and that's where I can see the, three people are, say, in a room playing the Nintendo Switch together, and they're playing Mario Kart, and person number 4 enters the room, and, the three of you with the Switches, rock, paper, scissors, okay. So so-and-so loses, he gives up one half of his controller, and then he's playing with one half, so you get that 4-player gameplay going that way, too. So...
Right. Right.
There's ways around it. There's options. I think something that would be smart is because like the 3DS, if you are playing a 3DS game, such as like I think the one that really stands out to me is Resident Evil Revelations, and it's got that raid mode on it. If your game card is updated to the top version or whatever, and the person you're trying to play with, theirs is like 0.1 updates under you because they haven't connected to update yet, you can't play together. So I think something they need to be smart about with that kind of thing is whoever has the top, maybe they can send that update to the other systems in the area, or maybe they just don't require that very top to play together. But then that gets into things like, well, for Mario Kart, there's always, all those different ways of not speeding, but ghosting and all the
And usually Nintendo will let you know that, hey, you have an update for this game, bam. Or sometimes they'll pop it in and they'll automatically update the game for you.
Yeah, that's also I'm not really concerned based on like the 3DS technology where like the local offline play, like you guys can still play each other. And in the commercial, they showed that on the NBA 2K17 section of the trailer where like they just had 2 back-to-back and they were playing each other. I don't really have any concerns on Nintendo first party particularly. I think that's something that third parties are more concerned about addressing just because Nintendo's so good about their updates and how their games work together, especially when it concerns updates or DLC or whatever. So,
yeah.
Anyways, back to I kind of want to get your thoughts on this Mario game that they showed off. Now that we've talked about the ports, what do you guys think of this Mario game? What kind of Mario game do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be a 64 Galaxy type game, or do you think it's going to be a 3D World 2?
It's going to be a 3D World 2, but it's going to have a different title.
And I think it's going to be more of a Mario type Galaxy game, like 64 Galaxy Sunshine, because they just haven't had one of those for so long that it's just time.
I think reason why it wouldn't be like a Galaxy one, I think that the levels are looking. Probably will have. It just seems like it's a 2D playing challenge, where it's still open, but it's kind of very linear. Where, or even Sunshine, there were like set paths for that level, but it feels like there was other levels connected into it that you could have went to. So that's why I say maybe 3D Worldish, maybe. And they had like that kind of style that is that the way that you look at it of now how Sonic games are now. It just have that viewpoint when he's running. They didn't show anything like 2D or anything like that. So yeah.
Yeah. For me, it might be. What if it's like a mixture of both? What if it has levels for both? Like, what if they integrate the 3D World game like levels into a full 3D Mario space? Like, just some of the levels are 3D World style, but instead of the flag, you find the star or something, and then another level will be like Galaxy, and another level will be like Mario 64.
Well, like if because like Mario 64, one of the first levels is you get to the top and you grab the star.
Right.
pretty basic. That's as basic as it gets, and that's basically point A to point B. So I'd be okay if they had like kind of a hybrid of it, where they had that open world, and then you go into your levels or your paintings or your warp pipes or whatever mechanic they decide to use, and this level is very Mario Sunshine, where you use this extra tool to help you navigate, and you have to help the little people clean up whatever. And then this level over here is very, Mario Galaxy, where you're shooting out to this other play space all the way over here. And then you've got this level that's very, hey, just get to the flag. I mean, I'd be okay with that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really hoping for, like, I know Galaxy was a great game and Sunshine. I hope they just kind of do a basic Mario 64 type game, but just bigger. Like, I understand like Galaxy's innovations with gravity and stuff. Like, that was all cool, but I think the best parts of, like, say Mario Sunshine, for example, were like those special stages where you didn't have the flood pack.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Yeah. Those were a lot of fun because, like, you got so used to the flood pack, and then it's all like, oh, I've got to actually Mario 64 my way through this one.
Yeah,
I got to know my platform, use my real platforming skills.
Yeah. Although, like, I wouldn't mind like Sunshine 2 either, because I went back and played Sunshine probably like 3 or 4 months ago, just because I was trying to figure out something I was working on before I stopped working on it, because I ran out of time and other things. But like, I really like the way that game feels.
Yeah.
So
no, like, I'd be cool with the Sunshine too as well, because it's been a hot minute since we did have that. Like, and I really enjoyed Sunshine on the GameCube. So yeah,
it's crazy. I just think there's so many games. There's so many things to talk about on this thing. We could do like 5 shows on this. But
yeah, we really could, and actually, we already have done.
I mean,
a couple.
Nintendo.
I just want the new Mario game. That's all I care for. It's a new Mario game. That's all I want.
I know. That's really all I do want.
And Bayonetta 3. Good. I want Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
You know what I want? You know what I really want, besides, them getting their online and everything right? I want them to get their eShop right and have GameCube classics running on this thing. Because you could play a GameCube game on this thing easy, probably. And I mean, they've already got like the N64 classics. They've been doing the Wii classics on the Wii U. So, like, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to just be all like, hey, GameCube classic right here. Like, I'd probably pick up Wind Waker on the GameCube style shop. I'd probably pick up Double Dash. I'd probably pick up, a couple of other games, and then
I'd pick up Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, like in the same way that they do the upgrades to Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow on the eShop on the DS. Give them that connectivity with other Switch systems where you can wirelessly play some Double Dash together. Like, I think that would do amazing things for sales, because even if they're not at least selling all of their brand new games right at the get-go, if someone can only afford to get the console plus like a few games, if they have that eShop option of GameCube titles, like, there are a handful of great games on the GameCube that would definitely be worth picking up again. So
yeah.
So let's say they do that. Should the price be $9.99 or should it be like $14.99?
See, I'd say that's tough. It in some aspects depends on the game, because I'd pay $15 for a Zelda game. Like, I'd pay $15 for Twilight Princess and Wind Waker each.
It'd be a lot like how
for other games, though.
It'd probably be a lot like how the PS2 classics work on PS4, where like maybe first-party games would be cheaper than third-party games just to make up the difference, or like more popular games would probably be more expensive, unfortunately, than.
Well, and aren't those ones like $8 to like $15 or something, though?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are like I think normally some of them they range between 10 and 15, and then a lot of games could be bundled. Like, I know the GTA trilogy is like 30.
But I mean, that makes sense. Like $10 a pop.
And like the Dark Cloud bundle with Dark Cloud 1 and 2 is like 25, I think, and they're 15 separated. So,
Okay.
I mean,
Well, also, do you think they can add Dreamcast?
I mean, it is a
this
Sega thing. They could
this
potentially if
is
they get
this
Sega on board.
actually we're actually going into my one of the topics I wanted to talk about before we ended was how do you want their virtual console to be set up? Because like you brought up GameCube, but then Ed, you just brought up Dreamcast. Do you think like Sega would want to get in on that?
Yes.
Well, and I could
I
see
think
it
that
because, like with their 3DS, at least, like with the new 3DSs, they have that Super Nintendo option now on the eShop, but they also have like some Sega games. They also have a handful of other games similar to that. So I think, we might not get the entire library of Sega Dreamcast games, but I think if they, have the right conversations with people, it's something that you could see potentially like Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 from the Dreamcast, or like those Sonic titles, like, I mean, why not? It's just a matter of the right conversation.
and then getting Soul Calibur even back and
Oh my
having
gosh, yes.
What if they got Soul Calibur 2 from the GameCube?
Oh yes, yes.
Oh
And
my
even
gosh.
like Grandia, Grandia 2. Like there's so many Dreamcast games that could be on the system. Still bring out the Turbo Graphics. Still bring out maybe Sega CD and bring out Snatcher finally. Like
Yeah, some
have
Sewer
that,
Shark. Woo!
because like her story is big with FMV. So why not kind of bring some of the classics that might not be good, like Crisscross, Make My Video, or CNC Music Factory with Mark Wahlberg. Like some of those old stuff, that all that retro stuff could come to Switch. So you have not only first party and third party and indie games, you have a list of game systems to play on the eShop.
Absolutely.
I want them to have like a virtual console as robust as the Wii. Like I feel like they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on
Wii
the
U.
Wii U,
Mm-hmm.
especially like the organization. And I just think that, don't get me wrong, I love the Wii U, but that eShop is a mess. It is a hot mess. And I hope like they have this. I hope they have a plan for virtual console, and I hope they have like weekly releases on virtual console, not just like, oh, we're gonna take 2 months off, but here's like 6 games and 4 of them you don't really care about. But
And because you already got My Nintendo started, integrate that. Special, like, hey, if you pick up all three titles for today at this price, not only do you get them, will triple your My Nintendo points.
yeah, and like you could do like cool rewards, or you could give like discounts to like quote platinum My Nintendo members.
Do you think they're gonna have paid online gameplay
like
PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live Gold?
No.
I mean, I want to say no right off the bat because this is Nintendo we're talking about, but this is also Nintendo trying to come back to the core gamer. And
I don't think it's going to be paid at first.
They might need eventually to switch it over to that.
I don't think so. I think go ahead, Corey.
I was just going to say I think that at first they're not going to, because of how badly they want people to come to their console and say, look, our online is free. You don't have to pay to play multiplayer online. Here's what you do get with our online services. And then maybe trickle out like, okay, so
Nintendo Power Up Pro person.
Yeah, like Nintendo Online Plus or whatever. And like, these are what you get if you pay us to play online, but you do not have to pay us to play online. And I don't really think
years later.
Yeah, like you don't have to pay to play multiplayer, but you get perks like discounts on virtual console games, discounts on
game a month or something like that too.
Like, yeah, even like
that now.
Yeah, like you get either like a free indie game, like similar to what Xbox and PlayStation do right now.
Yeah.
So I think they could do that eventually, but I don't think they're going to do that out of the gate, just because I don't think online gaming is particularly Nintendo's primary
objective right now, yeah. No, I
Yeah.
feel you there. I understand that. I just I think it's going to be interesting to see what DNA has done for them because that like there's a lot of things that are going to tell me if this is actually for an adult gamer or if that's
Mhm.
just the market they're trying to sell to before they're like, actually, guys, we're still for kids.
Yeah.
But like their their online infrastructure, that's going to tell me part of it. And then I know that this is completely just left field crazy, but if I can at some point in its existence buy South Park: The Fractured But Whole on this console, that is where I want to play it because I can take it wherever I go, and
Mhm.
that will tell me, okay, Nintendo is serious about this. They will open their typically kid friendly doors open to everyone now, and that's what I want to see because you can still have a console be kid friendly and have adult games too. You know,
And some of the
it's just a
people
matter
at
of the parents, the person moderating that console, making sure
yeah,
that your kid isn't playing that game. That's what it really comes down to. So
and it seems that like, some of the people at Nintendo have been going to these companies just like they've been doing indie people and talking to them, trying to get their products onto their system, onto their platform. So the South Park, the Fracture Butthole, may be like a summer or even a fall release, like a port, and it might actually be like, well, guess what? We got this. Not only is this South Park and superhero costumes, throw them us in some Mario costumes.
that'd be, yeah, like I was gonna say, throw in some Nintendo themed costumes because superpowers. You could totally have like someone be dressed up like as Samus or something, or
Right.
someone dressed up as like Fire Flower Mario or something like that. Like that'd be fun.
Like
Mhm.
or even throw them in like a Fire Emblem costumes because that works for a game like that. There's so many things that Nintendo can do. What I would like to say one thing last for about the eShop thing. I would love for them to continue what they did in September. Like every Thursday, there was a one particular game that they highlighted and was 10% off. I would kind of like that to do that kind of for maybe every 2 weeks or something like that. You
Well, I
know,
think that's something that needs to be done on every single console's marketplace is every week there should be something on sale. Even if it's like 10% off, 20% off. And something, I've noticed that Microsoft has been doing that. You've got your games with gold section where you can download your free games, and then you also see your deals with gold. So just like how we were talking about, maybe they won't charge for the online gameplay, but if you pay like 30 to 40 bucks per year, you get in on the Nintendo Red Hat Club or whatever it's going to be, and you get those extra percent off your discounts. You get those free games a month. You get that, subscription style, service that we pretty much know on the systems that we already have. So,
Or like do it remember when the Wii came out, if you bought the deluxe edition, you got that, like, I think it was like 2 years, like every like $10 you spent, or like every $50 you spent, you got like $5 to use in the eShop or
yeah.
whatever.
yeah,
Like
I remember that.
like they can do that, I think. So
Oh, I would love for them to bring that back.
oh, I know. I miss that so much because they stopped it like what, a year and a half ago almost now.
Yeah, they
So
did.
I mean, yeah, that was that's such a nice feature. It saved me some money. But
And 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 even have it for even have it for your digital purchase for like even new games to be like, hey, if you're part of this rewards program, not only do you get 10% off on this digital titles for between 5 days. That's full. That not only does that keep trading value down for those who buy the game, who think they could just take it to GameStop, know the full game is on your system. Uh, it, double my Nintendo points.
yeah,
So like really give them a benefit rewards factor for that, because if they do it for the Switch, I would do it. I'd be like, shoot, how much is a year cost, and then just pay the money for a year.
oh yeah. Uh, so the final thing I want to talk about before we wrap it up is what are your fears for this console? Like, what are you afraid of? What do you think? What are you afraid of happening with this thing?
Third party getting lazy. And that's all I can say. I can't say no more. I think third party is going to get lazy, and their ports are going to be shoddy for some of them.
Yeah,
Cal, what about you?
Like, initial concerns are battery life, but at the same time, it is very tablet based, so I don't think it's going to be that hard to be able to, charge it on the go, whether through like a car charger or just, if you are at an airport or whatever, finding that plug-in. The other thing that does concern me is just that, like, we mentioned in the videos we've done on Team Nerd, and like you mentioned earlier, and there are some of those games that were shown in the trailer that are not actually confirmed. And kind of like what Ed says, I don't want developers to look at this and think, oh, that's cool, we'll support it, and then do what they did with the Wii U and just decide, actually, no, this isn't what we want to do. We're more focused on 4K and VR and all of that. So
yeah, my main concerns are battery life, and I'm worried that like the same thing with third parties is going to happen that happened with Wii U, because not enough people supported it, the third party on the console, or B, like
bought the third party ports,
quote unquote, if this console doesn't sell like they want it to, like they just won't bother porting it over. But I mean, like I said on your video, Kyle, the third party support lives and dies by the Nintendo fan. Like the Nintendo fans have to buy these games for this console. You can't go and say, oh, well, I'm already so ingrained in Xbox's ecosystem or PlayStation's ecosystem, so I'm just going to buy this game there. They have to do something. They have to buy the games for this console. And I think Nintendo needs to provide incentives for buying the game for this console.
Well,
I think
honestly, like normally I would be so ingrained in the Xbox ecosystem that I'd be like, sorry, Nintendo, as much as I'm loving what your system is, I'm going to buy it on my Xbox for those achievements. But because of what the Switch is, because of the added, bonus of just taking it wherever I want to go, that is what gives me that added incentive to be like, you know what? I do want Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Switch, or I do want Mass Effect Andromeda on the Switch, or I do want, whatever it is. That right there is the added incentive. And sure, it might not be technically as impressive, and there's definitely games that I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, but I need to play this on the Scorpio once that comes out. But, most games that I have that option to buy on the Switch, I'm leaning more towards that right now, and of course that's very preemptive because we don't know everything about this yet, but that is my feelings as of right now.
And the added bonus to that is that because it's card based, you don't have to pop your game in and wait for a 45-minute installation like you have to do for PS4 and Xbox One. Even with the digital space, if the digital downloads are really quick, great. If there needs to be some update with the game card thing and it's quick, great. That's like, to me, an added incentive. Third party, do not delay your game to work on the other two systems.
Yeah, and I think the fact that this console is more like, I don't want to say more like a PC because it's not, but more like tablets and stuff, that like the NVIDIA Tegra chip is easier to develop for than Nintendo's proprietary stuff on the Wii U, supposedly. And like the fact that it's portable, I think those are two very good incentives for developers, and I think it's very good incentive for people to buy games on it. Kyle,
Absolutely.
Like you said, I think the mobility of this console, it might just push people over the edge to say, look, I want to play this game on the go. I want to play that game whenever I want. I don't want to just have to sit at home, because people travel a lot, people go places. They want to don't want to have to, like, I don't know, carry their Vita and 3DS around. They want to take their console experience with them. So
Right. I mean, and like, we have been talking about those online games, but if Destiny 2 potentially does come to this, and there is that option to quote unquote play offline while doing like story missions, or like do local play on story missions, and then once you connect back to the server, it all uploads. like I'd be totally for that. I would, as much time as I've put in on the Xbox and on the PlayStation each, I'd be like, all right, well, Nintendo Switch, you're my console. That's it. You know, like it's just the matter of, you know. So here's the other thing: is the price. The price for me isn't such a big deal because shoot, man, you make it $500 and I'm still gonna buy it. Like I'm excited for this thing, but most people are gonna want to see that nice $250 price point, you know, as maybe the low end spectrum, maybe even a $200 low end spectrum of just the handheld itself, and paying more for the dock. So I want to see them nail the price. I want to see them nail how they're going to handle, you know, the storage, because all they have to say is, hey, it's a micro SD card that supports up to, you know, 512 gigabytes or something like that. You know, like that size would be perfect for something like this. And yeah, sure, a 500 gigabyte SD card is not exactly the cheapest thing for a micro SD card, but it's also not like $20 billion Sony proprietary prices, you know? So
plus, if you're playing your game off like the card, if you're just going to buy the cards anyway, like onboard storage, I don't think is going to be that. I don't think you're going to be installing these games from the cart onto your system.
For me, though, you already know that I love my digital games, and that's where I typically try to buy most of my stuff is digitally, because I do enjoy just having the ease of access to all of my stuff there.
And normally I would be with you right there with you on that, but all my Nintendo stuff is physical.
See, and I was about to say, like, the thing is, though, like half of my Nintendo games on my DS are cards. So, excuse me, I got some hiccups going on. The other thing, though, is like we kind of have come full circle, because we had cartridges, you know, as you know, these started everything, and then we moved on to that optical media. But now, at the point that we're at, a flash drive, a flash card, you know, it has a faster read-write speed than a disk drive does. So the fact that these are on cards could exponentially, you know, just decrease load times to make them just like almost non-existent, and that's something that really excites me. So
yeah, for sure.
We'll get book manuals, like nice artwork of book manuals. You know, that's what I would love to see.
As like the game cases, like each game case is a book.
Yeah,
I mean,
like the game instructions
style, but yeah, like so here's something that's a little way too early to even discuss, and I don't want to see this happen because I want Nintendo to succeed on their own you know laurels, but at the same time I would like to eventually, once this system has run its life course and they announce their next one, I think this would be perfect for modding. I mean, I know that you don't want to talk about stuff like that because it's not exactly kosher, you could say, but once the Switch is, you know, 5, 6, 7 years old and Nintendo has their Switch 2.0, their next generation console that they bring out, like this thing is that powerful enough tablet type console type thing that I feel like you could put a lot of old school Xbox games or PS2 games and really have all of those console experiences that you've loved on the go. So
I would love to see how the system's going to get hacked.
I mean, like I don't know. It's just something that intrigues me at the very least. But at the same time, I don't want to see it happen anytime soon because I do want Nintendo to be able to be very successful with this console, not because of like hacking or anything. Because I don't want anyone to steal games. I don't want any of that. But like the other thing, back to the eShop, is I would love to see Game Boy Advance games on this. I think those would look great.
I think that'll be on this. I think that'll be on the system.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I'm all over the place on what I want on this thing, but I'm excited for it nonetheless.
Yeah. So am I. So
and Corey, honestly, if you need to cut that entire conversation part out there, because I know
nothing ever gets cut. Nothing ever gets cut.
I know. I know that normally, you know, we don't want to talk about modding stuff because that does get into that gray moral area with depending on how people handle it. But like, I'm not advocating stealing games. I'm just saying like this thing could be great for emulators later on after it's already run its course.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What I really want to see this thing is I kind of like the way I've been playing my 3DS lately as like a virtual console machine. with like some sprinkled in good games here and there. I feel like this is a system I feel like we all wanted and never knew we wanted. And I think that this is the right direction for Nintendo. And I think something that we didn't really talk about, which we might save for next week's episode, is I think that it's good that they're putting all their resources into one system instead of 2 or 3 different systems.
Well, and that's the conversation that Ed and I were having. Is Ed believes there's going to be another handheld. I don't. I think this is the thing. This is Nintendo's one console to rule them all, and I think that's great because you'd see those months where 3DS would get all of these games, but there's nothing on Wii U, and then you just swap that, and then Wii U is getting all the games. So,
yeah, looks like we have a topic for next week's show.
Potentially, yeah.
Yes.
So, final thoughts on the Nintendo Switch. Ed, what are your final thoughts on this system?
It's a day one purchase. Already gonna have my tax money prepared and ready to go for the system. It's a sleek design. I love the direction that they're going, and plus it's Nintendo. Of course, me being a big fan of it, I'm just gonna support them no matter what. It feels like they're bringing innovation back, and there's just gonna be some amazing games in the system. Just don't want third party to cheapen them out. I want them to give them their all, a straight 100%, just like they do the other systems, regardless of competition or exclusive DLC. I don't care about all of that. Just give them the all. Make it as good quality of a game that you do with the other systems. And hopefully I get a Splatoon 2. Hopefully I get another Mario. I can't wait to see Breath of the Wild. So while I'm on the go or at work, I'm still exploring the world. Heck, bring Witcher 4 if y'all decide to do it.
That'd be intense.
Yeah. Kyle, your final thoughts?
So, final thoughts, yes, I have my reservations about the name. It's still not quite clicking with me, but it will grow on me because, again, what's in a name? Pretty much most of my thoughts on it are positive. I'm excited for it. I want to know more about, certain things like battery life, like the actual game card size, like what kind of storage it is going to have, whether, expandable, whatever. And then I am very interested in knowing whether those are, sequels or 0.5 upgrades for the Mario Kart and for the Splatoon. Either way, this is a day one purchase for me. I'm going to get it day one. I'm going to play as many of these games as I can, and I'm going to be working on reviews left and right for these things because I'm excited to not only experience it for myself, but to share that experience with everyone else. That's like something that really is exciting me right now. So all positive, except for those few little I just want to know more type things,
Right.
Quick question to you, Corey. Will we be watching the next Direct next year for the Switch? Will they go full out?
I think so. I think they'll do everything in the next Direct. I think when January rolls around, after everything settles down from the holiday, I think about mid-January we're going to get one. And I think they're going to tell us specs, launch games, launch window games, price, accessory type things, and maybe even future games that they have planned.
And can I just say this, that Nintendo stole everybody joy. Okay, Red Dead 2 got announced and people were happy and the trailer came out, but the Switch came out and then everybody was focusing on that and barely no one talking about Red Dead.
Everything that was announced this week, everything I was excited for, like Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was announced this week.
The Logan trailer came out,
which was really good.
The Red Dead 2 announcement, which and then this was just overshadowed everything. I was like, what a week to be on my honeymoon, man.
Heck, Super Mario Run outshined the iPhone 7.
Yeah, I know, right? One final question. One game you want to see on this system
that isn't already
that wasn't shown, or just one game you want to see on this system.
That's tough.
I already know a new Metroid is going to come, so I won't say that. Um, I like I said, I want Bayonetta 3.
I knew you were going
That's
to go
what I
there,
want.
and I agree with you.
If not Bayonetta 3, can I please get a Xenoblade Chronicles X2? I want to see.
Gosh, I'm trying to think about it, and I think my answer is. So I mean, I already said I want to see like South Park Fractured But Whole, so I'm not going to use that again. But like, I think what I most want to see on this system that will really solidify this is their handheld and console going forward for me, Pokemon. Because the Pokemon Company has stated they are only going to make games for Nintendo's handheld systems. So if we see a main Pokemon game, like whether it's Pokemon Solar Eclipse or whatever they're going to call their Sun Moon hybrid middle game or whatever, or if it's just a new main storyline Pokemon game, that is what I want to see on it, because that confirms this is their handheld, this is their console, this is a unified one Nintendo to rule them all. So
in other words, we're going to get Pokken too.
I mean, I could see that too. Pokken would do great on this, especially in the competitive scene. So
yeah. I want to see a Fire Emblem. I want to see a full-fledged Fire Emblem on this.
That's a good call too. That was like one of my right after Pokemon ones.
Mm-hmm. I want to see that, and I want to see Pikmin.
Animal Crossing is going to be huge on it.
Oh my gosh, you're correct. I forgot that Animal Crossing even existed.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
so the other thing too, is we're talking about all these console games. I also hope they still do some more traditional handheld style games. Like, I would still love another top-down Legend of Zelda game in the style of A Link Between Worlds.
Oh. Yeah.
So,
Kyle,
I mean,
can I
like,
just hug you?
Breath of the Wild is going to be beautiful, going to be amazing, going to be wonderful.
What if they had like every other game for this system? Like, what if they did like a 3D Zelda and then a top-down 2D?
Oh, please, 3D, please, 2D. With the power behind it. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Can I please marry you and Kyle?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's something that I want to see for sure. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're gonna wrap up this episode. You can find Kyle at Team Nerd and at _ my name is Kyle, right?
Oh, he got it right. Yes.
Yes. You can follow Edward on Team Nerd and DNA and at that retro code on Twitter. You can follow me at Rogue Spartan 4 everywhere and at the DNA Network. You can also find our new look website at dnanetwork.net. We changed the URL. It's easier for everyone.
Page looks good, though. Page looks good.
Yeah, because Team Nerd's on there.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying it looks good because you did a good job, but I mean, that doesn't hurt.
So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We are going to bring POW Block back on a more regular basis. I miss this show. Nintendo is always going to be my number one love, even if I talk bad about them sometimes. It's only because we love Nintendo. It's because we expect so much from Nintendo, and they most of the time disappoint us, but not this week.
Not this week.
It disappoints you guys. It never disappoints me.
Switch has not disappointed me yet. It's only been a week.
I have not been disappointed yet from Nintendo at all.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. And until next week, we're out.
Bye.
Bye.